glad to get a chance to talk to you today. You've got this new project out called Black Swan, which I've had a chance to hear, and it's absolutely fantastic. So tell me a little bit about how this project got started.
Well, Jeff Pilson has done a few projects for Frontiers. He's a great producer, and he's got a nice studio and his house in LA, and he has a great relationship with the president of Frontiers. And I guess they were looking to do a new project, and I was out on tour with Jeff, with Foreigner. It was Foreigner, Whitesnake, Foreigner, somebody else. And it was the drummer, Led Zeppelin son. So it was Jason Bonham thing, and Jeff came up to me and said, "Hey Reb, how would you like to do a project with me and Robin McAuley?" And I said, "Wow, that's great. He's a great singer." And I jumped at the chance to write with Jeff because Jeff and I wrote "Erase the Slate" with Dokken many years ago, in what was it, 98 or something. And it was a great experience. Yeah, so I really wanted to do that again. So I was thrilled.
So working with these guys, I mean, everybody in this group is, consummate professionals, not only musicianship-wise, but, you guys just been around the scene for a long time, involved in a lot of things. Does that make this kind of project go a lot smoother maybe than some other things might?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I played on a thing for a friend of mine, and, man, they were just so unprofessional. This thing that I did, it just made me realize exactly what you're saying. That there's, when you've been doing it for so many years, you kind of know the drill. And so the writing went really quickly, pretty much because I have a million ideas. And when I got there, Jeff said, "You're writing this, by the way." And I said, "Oh, really? I didn't know that." Luckily I had a bunch of riffs, and he's a great arranger. So I came in with the meat of the song, with the verses and choruses, and he would pick up the bass and say, "All right, let's just go to F sharp, and that'll be the solo section." And we threw it together, and it went. We wrote a song a day, so it took 10 days to write the record, a couple weeks.
Now, were you guys all together? I mean, you did this at Jeff's studio, right?
The writing was just me and Jeff, and then we gave the basic tracks to Robin.
I see.
And he wrote the lyrics.
Gotcha. And everything's different now.
Everybody.
Sure, recording is different now. So did Robin record his parts separately from you guys, or were you guys ever truly in the studio together?
Yeah, Robin did his stuff separately.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's kind of the way everyone does it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that seems to be the way everybody does it nowadays, and especially with a situation like yours. I honestly don't know how you had time to do this project, being a member of Winger and Whitesnake, with both bands seemingly almost out on tour at the same time. Does that get interesting?
I was really busy
for you?
I was really busy last year, but there was kind of a lull for me and Jeff. It was like a 2-week period, but one was 1 week and the other one was the other week. And let me just say, just to clarify, most bands do the vocals on their own, just because if you've got the whole band in the same room, well, sure, all the mics are going to bleed, So, sure. I mean, usually the drum's in its own room, but it's just kind of more of a pain in the butt to do it that way. Every Winger album we've ever done has been, I play my parts and Kip does his parts, and we do the drums last in Winger.
Yeah, and I wasn't insinuating you guys weren't really like a band situation or anything. I'm just always curious, because, sometimes everybody's all together in the studio, and they're working on their parts separately and recording their parts, but kind of comparing notes. And sometimes I hear about guys, where you guys are sending, clips back and forth across to another country practically while you're out on tour.
I've never done that. Never did that. But definitely, I always do like a writing team, like with David, you know, sat and wrote with David, and I sat and wrote with Kip, and it just goes a lot better that way. If there's, you know, not too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Well, the last Whitesnake album is fantastic. It was our #1 album of the year for 2019. Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Are you guys still hitting some tour dates in Europe on that, or are you finally off the road with Whitesnake?
Oh no, we're booked all year.
Okay.
No, yeah, I leave next week for the rock cruise with Winger, and then go right from there to Australia to play with the Scorpions, and then it's Singapore, Jakarta, Japan, Italy, and then a bunch of Europe dates, like all the festivals, and I know that they're planning some kind of a U.S. thing for this summer.
So tell me about you got. Obviously, you're quite successful. You know, been a big fan of your work, of course, with Winger. I liked what you did with Dokken. Thought it was really good. Thought it was you know, your own style, yet fit perfectly with Dokken's previous style.
Yeah, I'm not George
and
Lynch.
Then, of course,
Definitely.
well, and that's fine. Everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own kind of personality that comes through in their playing. But I wonder what you thought out of all of these opportunities, things you've done. What would you consider your greatest accomplishment at this point in your life?
My greatest accomplishment. Well, I've met a couple of my heroes, which was really a great thing for me. You know, there were a couple times when I just went, wow, I've really made it. You know, like when Brian May was standing on the side of the stage at one of my best shows. It was a giant show, like 50,000 people, and he was standing basically right on the side of me and just watching the whole show. And he tweeted something like, you know, one of the great guitar players of our time, like some like way too nice of a thing to say, but you know, it'll be like on the front of my solo album, you know, Brian May says one of the greatest guitar players of all time. You know?
Well, I can certainly. I mean, that's almost surreal, you know, to be in that situation. For sure.
Yeah, there were times like that. I learned to play guitar from Molly Hatchet, and Danny Joe Brown put his arm around me and stomped his foot. You know, that just freaked me out. It's just times like that. But yesterday I'm learning Winger songs because we're doing a bunch of new songs. And I played this one solo trying to beat Headed for a Heartbreak on, I think it was Karma, the Winger album. And it was going really, really poorly, and I was freaking out because I had to beat Headed for a Heartbreak. It was the last song on the record, the ballad, just like Headed for a Heartbreak. And so finally I left the building and drank like 3 beers and came in and said, all right, let's do this thing. And I played it first take. It's a song called Witness, and I just learned it last night, and I'd say that's my best solo. It's very grandiose, and it's like 3 minutes long. It's at the end of Karma, that record, and I'd say that's my greatest accomplishment on guitar because you can tell it's first take. You know, there's nothing's punched in on it, and it's just a crazy solo, definitely from my heart, and so that's another thing, I guess.
So speaking of that, you know, I dabbled in guitar playing myself. I'm not a guitarist by any stretch of the imagination, but I always wondered for guys like you, with the amount of material, the discography that you guys have had. You said you just indicated that you're learning some of these songs, you know, I guess for out on the road. Is it hard to remember the solo, you know, what riff you used, you know, the notes for each song after a period of time? Does that get difficult to play it note for note again?
You just got to learn it. You know, when you first sit down to learn it, you're like, oh my God, I'll never be able to play this. Oh my God, this is so hard. How did I even do this? But if you just sit there and go play it over and over and over and over, and, you know, there's a program that all the cats use called, what the hell is it? Amazing Slowdowner. It's an app. And
I see.
with that app, you can slow things down, you can speed them up, you can just take a little section and play it over and over and over again, and you can tune it to whatever you want to tune it to. So it's just so valuable in learning songs. But yeah, you know, if it's something that I wrote, especially, I know I can play it, you know. And some, you know, there'll be solos here and there where I punch something and it's actually humanly impossible to play. So I'll just play something as close as I can, kind of like me doing Lynch, you know.
Sure.
Where you just play something that's, you know, same notes, incredibly similar, no one will know kind of thing, you know.
So a little bit of improv in there from time to time.
Yeah, but the thing that is getting hard is playing in two bands that are the same type of music, basically.
True. I could see
Whitesnake and Winger. This is becoming a problem, and before it wasn't because Winger, like David would go year on, year off, year on, year off, right? And when David would take the year off, Winger would go out for that whole year. Well, now David's, you know, going out every year. And so I'm doing Winger shows, trying to just intersperse them, get as many Winger shows as I can get in on the days off. And that's proven to be really difficult. And then now playing the repertoire of each band, songs are really similar. You know, rock songs,
sure,
very, very similar. And so sometimes I'll play a, you know, Winger riff in the middle of a Whitesnake song by mistake.
Well, as long as no one notices, I've not heard anyone say, you know, that you played it wrong. So I guess as long as it fits, it still works, right?
Yeah, there's ways around that. You know, I've been making mistakes for so long that you know, that's why I play with a whammy bar, because, you know, once the train wreck begins, you just hit a harmonic and do a dive bomb until you know where you are. You know,
so that's the trick. I got it.
Oh yeah, I meant to do that.
So, what do you think of the current music scene? You know, rock music's changed a lot. I know, but I have to ask it because
I'm the worst at it, man. You know, I'm always impressed when I see other guys answering this question. Like, well, I like, you know, Slipknot, and like, they've got all these million bands that I've never heard of. I'm just like I'm an aging rock musician, and so I listen to either my ideas or classic rock, you know, talk radio. And when you talk about the new music, I mean, I turn on the Billboard Music Awards, and it's the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life or heard. I mean, I can't believe what I'm hearing. It wasn't even music. It was just kind of, it was all just auto-tuned. Like, none of these people sang. It freaked me out. I'm like, what's happening to rock? You know, why can't a new Van Halen come out with a hot kid on guitar, you know, that blows everyone away with a new sound and a killer front man? And, you know, I'm waiting for that, and it still hasn't happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate to make that analogy, but guys like you, George Lynch, Eddie Van Halen, I mean, it seems to be, I don't want to say it's a dying breed, but certainly the music industry. The music industry now definitely seems to be more about, as you said, auto-tune, making stuff perfect by computer recording, and more about beats, definitely more slanted to the hip-hop side of things the last couple of years. And, yeah, you just don't, you know, I haven't seen anybody just amazing. You know, I review a lot of material, see a lot of stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's strange.
I had a theory on that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, you get these amazing guitar players. They're all over YouTube, and these guys play circles around me, and you know, just incredible guitar players. But maybe they don't know how to write a song, or maybe they're a jerk. Yeah, who knows? Like,
could be.
You have to be in a band,
YouTube, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some reason that if they can't write a song, if their music sucks, then no one's going to go to see their show. So that's what you need. You need a band with one of those killer guitar players coming out of GIT or Berkeley. You know, you would think it would happen. Someone would push through and change everything. Because
Yeah,
guitar is so
like
cool. You know, guitar is so much cooler than all the sequenced keyboards and the same thing all the way through the song.
I agree 100%. You know, and I used to think it was because, you know, during the 80s, everybody had to do these super flashy solos and everybody was trying to outdo each other. And at one point it really got almost ridiculous, right? I mean, guys, I remember, you know, trying to play two guitars at once, you know, and then just everybody was trying to just smoke everybody else. I'm the best guitarist alive. And I thought, well, okay, so I can kind of see a lot of that was overkill. And I think we saw that in the 90s with grunge and bands. They just didn't even really do solos, you know. It was like they kind of took that out of music because I guess it maybe was because of the overkill situation. But now it's you don't even have guitar in a lot of the bands that are referred to as rock bands, which is very strange to me.
Me too.
So for anyone that doesn't know you personally, Reb, what do you think they'd be surprised to know about you?
Would be surprised to know about me? Well, I dress like a fisherman, and I do. You know, all the other guys in the band, and they look like rock stars, you know, and I got my freaking fisherman hat on and my hoodie, and I just basically kind of look like a bum. And I go to my local bar here every Wednesday and Sunday, and I have friends there that meet me, and you know, they know that I'm playing in a band, you know, but we don't talk about that stuff, you know. It's just that's what makes me happy, is hanging out with the guys at the bar. I have a lot of English in me, German, English, Irish. So I like sitting at the pub and just shooting the breeze about, you know, what normal people talk about. And it's funny that's kind of my thing. I never was that guy that had all the tattoos and wore the leather and always looked amazing. And, you know, Alice always wanted me to be that way because Ryan Roxy was, you know, he always looked like a rock star everywhere he went. He would go to Walmart and just looked like a rock star, you know. But I'm kind of
course,
more
this probably keeps you from, you know, wearing a fishing hat and a hoodie probably keeps you from, you know, being bothered as much, you know. You know, I mean, people probably don't instantly assume you're a rock star if you're out in public that way. So.
I don't consider myself famous at all. I feel like I was famous for like 4 years, you know, way back when. And, you know, I'm a sideman now, and I do my thing on guitar. I've got my sound and the thing that I do, and it works. It works well, and I love making music. But I was just never kind of that guy. I mean, East Coast, you know, I went to camp when I was a kid.
Well, I'm sure most of our listeners, knowing you're in Winger and Whitesnake, are not going to buy that, that you're not a rock star, mind you, but because a lot of them, I'm sure, would trade places with you in a heartbeat if they had your ability.
I'm very lucky. I am very, very lucky. I was in the right place at the right time in New York City and got my foot in the door with some producers and met Kip Winger and sold 1 million records. So I was very lucky to be there.
So speaking of being lucky and the timing and all that with the music industry, because obviously you guys were at the right spot at the right time in the 80s when everything was moving along.
Not really. We were late.
No?
We were late. 88, the end of 88 it came out. So I'd be a millionaire if we came out in 86.
So what do you have, what kind of, you know, what advice do you have for guys that are starting out now in a band? Because it's changed a lot.
It sure has. Yeah, we didn't have the internet. So, you know, I guess just get out there and play and get on YouTube. Get on YouTube and get followers and social media, and you know, you need a publicist, and it's all about the social media thing these days. It seems like, you know, that's the way you can get seen, and especially if you develop a following in your town. You know, like like Kicks, you know, Kicks in Baltimore. Forget it. Like, you know, freaking Aerosmith would open for Kicks in Baltimore.
That's true.
Those guys are huge. They're huge. That no one goes after kicks in Baltimore. They're just a staple of that town. Such a great band. I'm looking forward to seeing them on the boat.
You've been out on a lot of tours over the years with the various bands, projects that you've worked with. What's the strangest request you've ever received from one of your fans that you can tell?
Oh, sure, yeah. There's a bunch of I had a girl one time ask me. She said that her dog died, and she wanted to just give me a box with some mementos of the dog, or some pictures and things, because her dog always wanted to go on the road, and so she wanted to put him on the tour bus with me, just to have his memory on the bus with us. So I opened the box when we got on the bus, and it was not only was it the dog's ashes, but it was pictures of the dead dog lying on top of her.
Oh my!
In different positions.
Oh
so,
my God!
I know, and I couldn't throw it away, so my guitar tech threw it in the the gas station. She threw it in the garbage. But I mean, I was playing with Alice.
Listening to this.
Oh yeah, that was so many years ago. I mean, God. I mean, I was playing with Alice, and this lady offered her baby. Take my baby, like up on stage,
That is truly unique.
Yeah, some people are really nutty, and everyone asks to, sing happy birthday to them. And can you mention my friend Karen? She loves you. Just mention her on the mic. And I'm like Joe Perry. I don't talk on the mic.
Yeah. And like 100 other people don't want you to do the same thing too, right? I mean, that's probably a pretty common request. So
it is. You get a lot of requests to say something on the mic. Hey, can you mention Bob's Chicken is having a sale?
So, is there a band or an artist that you have always wanted to play with and haven't had the opportunity to, that you would just jump at the chance to be in some kind of project with?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of old Aerosmith, and I'd love to be in a project or something with Steven Tyler, because I just think his voice he's got my favorite voice of a singer. And I got to jam with the Dixie Dregs once. That was another huge moment. That may be the hugest moment for me, because when I went to Berklee College of Music, the Dregs were that band, which no one probably knows, but that was the band. And Steve Morse now plays with Deep Purple for many, many years. And musicians know them, right? Musicians
know the Dregs, absolutely.
All musicians know the Dregs, yeah. Incredible music. So who inspired you originally? I mean, I know you've listened to a variety, and you kind of listed a couple people earlier when we were talking about heroes that you met, but as far as your playing style goes, who really influenced you on the guitar? It was all those 70s guitar players, and Hendrix was before my time, so I was influenced by guitarists that were influenced by him. And so, at first I learned how to play guitar, like I said, from Molly Hatchet and kind of the Southern thing, because it was really easy soloing. And then, like Peter Frampton, Ronnie Montrose, all those Aerosmith albums, any just kind of lyrical guitar player. I mean, there were so many then, Rick Derringer, and there's a bunch of them. So that was like my rock phase. And then when I went to Berklee, I got into this kind of more musician-y, jazzy thing, where I got into Steve Morse, and Alan Holdsworth was a big influence with my legato thing. Like if you listen to Head of a Heartbreak or any of my ballady stuff, my tapping kind of sounds like Alan Holdsworth.
Nice.
Jean-Luc Ponty also is a big influence for me.
All right, you're going to hate this question, but give me your top 3 favorite rock guitarists.
Sure. Well, Top three, huh? I mean, of all
Yeah, I know.
time, he was. Well, I mean, Andy Timmons is he plays with everybody. He's out of Dallas, and a good friend of mine. He's probably my favorite guitar player, and he's kind of like a Steve Lukather guy, who's another amazing guitar player. There was a guy named Drew Zing who played with Steely Dan, and he was my favorite guitar player when I was a kid, believe it or not, because I used to go see him at Kenny's Castaways in New York City when I was just cutting my teeth there at an early age of 26.
Wow.
And, I mean, you got to say Van Halen. I mean, come on, Jesus.
Sure. I would have been shocked if you had.
Yeah,
if
no
you hadn't
one
included him. I would have been shocked, but
no one's ever done that before. That guy just, no one ever will. He came out and changed the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've always, when it comes to guitarists, I've always thought Jimi Hendrix was kind of the first guy to really tilt stuff in a completely different direction, and then Eddie Van Halen did it again. And there's a lot of great guitar players, you being one of them. And everybody has their own style, but I mean, it's very rare that you see an innovator that changes the entire rock scene with their style.
But it's so on fire, though. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
When I was doing a Whitesnake thing, David had some old tracks of the actual 87 record. So I got to solo John Sykes' guitar. And I was soloing John Sykes' guitar solos, and they were just on fire. Just, it felt like I was on fire just listening to them. He just sounded like I could feel his energy. Like, God, it's huge vibrato and beautiful soaring notes. Really, really, those guys, they're the guys. For sure.
That is great to hear. It's great to hear because I talk about, I talk to a lot of musicians, and a lot of them are more into, it was, great concert, super loud, nobody, could hear. But I love hearing you, refer to music as you just did, and like feeling that emotion and everything that comes out of it. Because a lot of the newer bands, and I'm not picking on anybody, but a lot of them, they don't really tie a lot of that emotional and connection and feeling into their playing, I don't think. So.
I agree. That
it's a different style too.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's a different style. So
there's something cool about a guitar player. I think a good guitar player. I remember being a kid and waiting for them to come on, waiting for a band to come on. Sometimes you'd hear the guitar player, plug in and play a chord, and like, oh my God, here comes the guitar player. And I just always loved guitar my whole life.
So if you're going out on tour with Whitesnake pretty much all year, am I to assume that Winger will not be putting out any new material anytime soon?
I'm leaving Sunday to continue writing the new record with Kip.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got the basis of 3 songs the last time we got together, and we got a week now to do this. And when you work with Kip, it's very intense. Like he starts, 9:30 a.m. Boom, we're there, and you go until you just can't go anymore. To 7, 8 o'clock. So it's long days, and it's hard work, but it's extremely satisfying. It's satisfying. It's like climbing a mountain. Like it's like this is really hard. Oh my God, it's gonna suck, and I don't know if I can do it. And then, ta-da! You have this bright light that just pops out like, you did it, like a big party when you come up with the right riff. Because you write 100 shitty ideas before you come up with a good one, Oh, can I not swear? Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Hey, I am glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that there's new Winger material coming out, because I thought you were going to tell me no, since you're out on tour and so busy. So that's exciting news to hear. Thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us at XS Rock. Got a great review coming out for you on Black Swan, and
good.
I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to listen to that. And if you have one last thing, if you could say, what would you like to say to all of your fans out there?
Just thanks for all your support over the years, and I got a solo album coming out definitely this summer. But it's all instrumental, but it's lots of cool guitar and, very listenable songs. It's not weird, strange stuff. And And come on out and see Whitesnake and Winger all summer long. Love to see you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Reb. Appreciate you taking time out of your day. Have a good one.
Sure, Bobby. Nice talking to you.